Theme for the month, God in Action. Happy to be here to share my ideas as Spirit would inspire me on this wonderful topic. I want you just to reflect back for a moment, not too far back, to the time that you awakened and became conscious of the fact that you were into a new day. And as you awakened into this day, you began your routine. You hit the floor and you began to do all the things that you do as a part of your grooming experience and getting ready for today. And as you went forward, there was no doubt in your mind that there would be nothing that you'd be able to do, that you would be able to continue to move forward. You expected when you hit the floor that you'd be able to walk. You expected to be able to go into each one of the rooms in your home to do whatever it is that you did. And then those of us that drove this morning, when we got to our cars, we got in the car and we turned on the ignition. You had an expectation that it would turn over, that the car would start, and that you would be on your way here to this place. And when you arrived here this morning, your expectation was that the doors would be open, that the lights would be lit, that the chairs would be welcoming you. You had no doubt in your mind that all of these things would move in accordance to the words that I've just spoken. Imagine if we approached everything in our life with that same level of expectation.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
At every place we went, everything we did, every desire that we have, that our expectation is that it would indeed happen. That there would be no stopping us. That good is, in fact, our divine birthright. You know, it was the writer, the Apostle John, who said these wonderful words. He said, "Beloved, now we are the sons of God." Not tomorrow, not next year, not next month, not next century, but right now. Now that's a statement of fact. It's a statement of our being. It's a recognition of who and what we are. And if that is the truth of our being, that now we are the children of God, then our expectation should be that life provides to us the benefits that come to those of us that have that understanding.
Amen.
So if we have that understanding, of course our expectation is that everything in life works.
Yes.
Now, if that is the truth, then the opposite would also be that when things do not work in life, it's because that is likewise our expectation.
That's true. That's true.
When we have doubt, doubt manifests itself in things not working in our lives. But if we move in accordance with an expectation that everything is going to work, again with this idea that we are in fact the children of God, and therefore that is our expectation. Now he goes on and he says, "It does not yet appear what we shall be." You know, we don't even have a real concept in our minds about what is unfolding for us in this great adventure that we call our lives. We have no idea the level of demonstration that we'll be able to experience as we move forward in our understanding. And he's pointing this out so succinctly in this scripture. He goes on to say, "But this we know, that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is." Now, in this, I don't think that his reference is to that a being is going to appear, and we're going to look at that being and say that I look like that being. But I think the reference is that when our understanding becomes clear, that we'll understand that not only are we the children of God, but we have the power of God to use in operation in everything that we do in our lives. And life does not work because it's not because God isn't working it for us. It's because we're not trusting God the way we should. Imagine if we leave out of here today saying, you know, I'm going to redirect my thinking. I'm going to change my orientation. And more importantly, I'm going to change my expectation. I'm going to go forward into the rest of my experience expecting life to begin to work for me. Begin to believe that every good thing that I desire, I have the right for that good to unfold so perfectly for me.
Yes.
And then go forward with that as our new level of expectation. Imagine for us to not only claim that we are the children of God, but to act as though that is in fact reality. How would life change for you if you begin to act from that place of acceptance? Can you begin to just imagine? See, Dr. Holmes says this. He says that we all have the unlimited potential of God, for God in us, as us, is us. This divine potential is looking for us to give it birth within our experience. We all have it. Now, we have a lot of things that we may not use, but we all have it. Now, today can be our moment of discovery. A lot of the things that I'm saying to you, you've heard before, but maybe you've not acted upon them. But today now is a new opportunity for you to move from your inaction into action. To think about everything before you is in its potential. Yours is the opportunity to move it from potential to actuality. In other words, to cause the shift to take place in every circumstance that you are a part of. To have a new and greater vision for yourself, and then to believe that that vision is indeed possible. Why? Because you are in the midst of God action. You are in the midst of God activity. You've identified yourself as a child of God, and therefore it is understood that the energy and the power and the essence of God is that which is flowing through you. And it's flowing through you because it's looking for an avenue by which it can flow out of you in the creation of something. And that something is the result of your thinking. The thoughts that you are entertaining within your own mind. Because those thoughts, while they're in an abstract form right now, at some point will unfold into a living reality that you call your own life experience. That's how Spirit works through us. It dares us to give it a mold to fill and to accept that it will, in fact, do that. You know, so often we don't experience the greatest that we could because we are not willing to accept that greatness is our divine birthright. Now, if we all left out of here today just saying that to ourselves, not trying to convince someone else, just saying that to ourselves, that I'm unfolding at my own pace, but good is my divine birthright, because I know in my heart of hearts that there's something very special about me. Inherently, I have as a part of my DNA everything that I understand God to be. Therefore, I expect to demonstrate at that level. Now, once again, so often we fail to demonstrate at that level because we think we cannot. And therefore, we act not. But going forward, what if we decide that we're going to act differently? Instead of praying to God, asking God for something, why don't we pray, ask God? Imagine that. If you are the child of God, if you inherently have the abilities of a God child, then why can't you demonstrate at a God child-like level? It's all about belief. Now, we claim that we believe a lot of things, but you know, when we examine our experiences, what is being shown to us is exactly what it is that we believe and the level of which we believe it. So where we are in the whole scheme of things is clear evidence of our belief. And whenever you want to take the temperature of your own thoughts, look at your life. Affirm this with me, if you will. Listen to this word. I am a unique expression of the divine.
I am a unique expression of the divine.
I want you to process that in mind before you say it once again. And think about what it is that you're saying. As I say so often, I don't want you just to repeat something because I asked you to do it. I want you to be clear of what it is that you're saying. Have a vision of the word that you are expressing. Because words are living realities. They're the seeds of our experiences. And when we speak them, we release those seeds into the creative mind. And something happens in that place where we release those seeds. It receives them, and then all of a sudden it throws back to us the experience of that thought. So think about that once again. I am a unique expression of the divine. Now, you're not saying that you are the divine, but you are an expression of it. And you are a unique expression of it because you are different from everyone and everything else. And it uses you differently because your thinking is different. Your desires are different. Your visions are different. Your goals are different. And because of those differences, you are a unique expression of the divine. But understanding, because you are an expression of the divine, your uniqueness can cause you to be blessed at the level of your own thinking. Yeah. The thoughts that you're entertaining within your own mind are the kinds of experiences that you have chose to manifest. Yeah. Now, as we understand that, let us affirm. I am a unique expression of the divine.
I am a unique expression of the divine.
Yes, you are. Really, you are God in action. You are absolutely God in action. Now, if you can understand that, the question would be, why do you deny yourself so much? You are God in action. Why do you deny yourself so much? Why do you deny yourself a greater expression of living? Why do you deny yourself greater happiness? Why do you deny yourself greater success? Why do you deny yourself greater love? Why do you deny yourself greater accomplishments? Why do you deny yourself greater peace? Why do you deny yourself so many things? Why? Because we are unconscious. That's why. And it's in a moment like this that we become conscious of what it is that we are and what it is that we have, but more importantly, begin to use the gifts that Spirit has given unto us. Because it's our right. It's our divine birthright. We are unique expressions of the divine. An illustration of God in action. I have a few I'd like to share with you this morning. The first one I'd like you to think about at the turn of the 20th century. The most successful man in America was Andrew Carnegie. At the turn of the 20th century, historians said the most successful man in America was Andrew Carnegie. Now, he came to this country as a very poor immigrant. Dirt poor. Dirt poor. But while he may have been poor in material goods, he was rich in consciousness. And that's true for everybody. You know, so often we make measurements according to our economic status, and while we may do that, economically you may be in one place, but consciously you can be at another. And the latter affects the former. Because it makes no difference where you start. As you develop your consciousness, it shifts everything. And thus, his story. One of the things he focused on always was success. This was his favorite statement. Think of yourself as on the threshold of unparalleled success. A whole, clear, glorious life lies before you. Achieve. Achieve. That was his mantra. Now imagine each of us positioning ourselves in that same place, thinking of ourselves at the threshold of unparalleled success. Success is such that we have never experienced before. The greatest goal, the greatest dream, the greatest desire, the greatest thing that you've ever thought of, just think of yourself, you're right there at it. And you're about to just cross over and to experience whatever it is that you desire. Now, it's that crossing over that stymies most of us all the time. We think about it and we say that we accept it, but for some reason we're fearful to reach out and grab a hold of it. Now imagine if you begin to say to yourself, every fear that I've ever entertained, I banish out of my consciousness right now. It has no longer any power in my circumstance. That this goal, this dream, this desire of mine, I'm reaching forward and I'm achieving it. I'm capturing it. I'm experiencing it. Why? Because it is mine. And it is my divine birthright to experience the good God has deemed to be my own. Whatever that good may be, I can achieve this. I will achieve this. And then go forth and do just that. Now, can you see yourself doing it? Because that's where it all begins. You know, so often we allow our minds to become cluttered with images of our past where we've not experienced the level of success that we desire. And we use that as a barometer to say that our future is going to be in the same place. But what happens when you say, I banish all that, I forget all that, I'm letting all of that go? I'm not thinking about how old I am, I'm not thinking about what sex I am, I'm not concerned about the level of education that I have. This is my goal. This is my dream. This is my desire. And it's achievable because I'm paired with something, the greatest power, the greatest essence, all the magnificence that there could ever be. I'm the result of it. And because it is, I am, and because we are, I can do this. And then go forth and achieve that. Andrew did that. He went from this young boy that came to this country as dirt poor, first job being a laborer in a textile factory. But regardless of what it was that he was doing, he kept focused on the ability to achieve and capitalized the very first corporation in this country to be capitalized at $1 billion. Why? Because he believed it possible and he allowed his belief to be the motivating force that pushed him out to do it. What about you? What is your belief doing for you? And if it's not doing anything for you, then it's time for you to be honest with yourself and say, I need to change what I believe. I need to change what I believe because it's not working. And it's operating contrary to law. Another great instance of God in action was something more relevant, something more current, something that if you've been reading the newspapers or watching television in the last couple weeks, you've seen it. And that is on July the 4th, a spacecraft by the name of Juno reached the orbit of the planet Jupiter. This was a space probe that was launched 5 years ago, and it has traveled 1.5 billion miles. Imagine that. This spacecraft launched 5 years ago, and for the last 5 years, it's been on this trajectory, heading to the planet Jupiter. They called it Juno because they named it after the wife of the Roman god, Jupiter, because its mission was to go and to study Jupiter. So on July 4th, this satellite finally entered into Jupiter's orbit. And the scientists here in Pasadena, all the NASA people, they were all excited about this major accomplishment. And you know, as I listened to this and as I read the article and, you know, was happy about the accomplishment of this, I thought to myself, here's a great demonstration of the genius of God representing itself through man. You imagine, first of all, someone had this as an idea. It began in the same place that everything begins, as an idea. Someone thought within themselves that this was a possibility to create something that could travel this far, to last this long, and be able to go to that distance and provide information regarding the formulation of the solar system. Imagine the mind that was thinking that they could achieve this. And then regardless of the obstacles, stayed focused on doing just that. 5 years ago, it was launched. But the idea had to have been conceived even prior to that. So we don't know how far back the idea began, but it began some time ago. And then over time, it has moved along. Just think about some of your ideas. That began a long time ago. And ask yourself, have you given up on them? Because it's taken them so long to reach their point of destination. Imagine. Here's what happened when we don't let go. Here's what happened when you continue to stay focused. Here's what happened when you have real belief in the attainment of a goal. And you are steadfast in that belief, holding on, believing that you're going to accomplish this thing. And the same is true for all of us. You know, that's the great thing about Spirit. It didn't just give some to the people over here and none to the group over there. It gave it to all. It's just that some of us are willing to hang on. Regardless to what comes, regardless of the appearance, continue to listen to the inward voice and not be distracted by all that which is going on the outside. For so many of us, we're so easily distracted by the outside noises, all the flash. It grabs our attention rather than to continue to stay focused on what it is that we are hearing within ourselves. That which is speaking within the very depth of our being, the echoes of our hearts, saying, yeah, you'll be able to do this. Just stay on. Just stay on. Just stay on. As one writer said, you know, the race isn't given to the swift, or the awards are given to the strong, but it's given to the one that will endure to the end. Amen. What is your endurance like? When you look at your life, you ask yourself, what is my endurance like? Because it didn't happen yesterday, I'm giving up. You know, because it didn't happen last week. You know, I prayed for that and nothing came about. Well, maybe you need to alter how you pray. Amen. And stop asking for something you already have the power to create. Amen. It's all about our approach. Yes. If we truly believe that we are existing in this divine stuff, if we truly believe that we are in the presence of the divine, then we should act like that. Because when we act like that, we will demonstrate like that. You know, I thought of another instance of God in action. And this one is even more directly related to those of us that are here. I think it was maybe 8 years ago, maybe just a little longer, but it was around 8 years ago, when our church was over on 11th Avenue. and we were looking for another facility to have our worship experience. And I received a call one day from a friend of mine, and he told me that this building was available. And there was no outward signs anywhere that said that the building was for sale or that it was available or anything. And we pretty much had scoured Leimert Park, and we had gone west looking for another facility. So when he told me about this, I came by and I looked at the building, and I told him I'd like to get inside and take a look at it, and he made that arrangement. I got in. And when I came in, this building used to be, and when it was first developed, it was a hair salon. I mean, it was a huge hair salon, but it was a hair salon. and this area in here, from here probably further into the fellowship hall, you could see in the floor where they had the connections for those floor stands for hair dryers and the chairs. And so the infrastructure was still in the floor. And at that time, when I came to look at the property, it was being used as a laboratory for the creation of hair coloring and hair products. And so, you know, they were busy doing their thing, and I'm walking through, and as I'm walking through, I'm seeing what could happen. Not getting stuck on what was happening. I'm looking beyond the appearance. So I called my friend who was a broker, and I told him I'm interested. I'm going to go tell our church board about this. I'd like to have another chance to bring them over and let them see it. So he did that, and I told our board, I said, you know, I found a building, we can walk over there. Go over and take a look at it. And they came over, we walked in, and they looked, and as they came in, I was describing the vision. I wanted them likewise to look beyond the appearance. Don't get caught up on what you're seeing right now, but to get more focused on your ability to cause change. So they accepted my vision, and we gave the owner an offer, and he accepted the offer. So at that time, I had a ministerial class over at the other church, and so I told the minister that week after we had made the offer, I said, tonight we're going to walk across the street. We're going to go over to this new building here, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a reenactment of Joshua walking around the walls of Jericho. Wow. Because our goal tonight is to tear down any barrier or any potential barrier that may thwart this desire for us to make this acquisition and move into this property. I said, you know, and in that story, when Joshua led the children of Israel around the walls of Jericho, Jericho was this huge, impenetrable force. And they didn't know how they were going to tear it down, but the inspiration that came to Joshua was just to walk around it 3 times, and on the 3rd time, just yell with a loud noise, and the walls would come tumbling down. I said, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to walk around it. And then after we walk around on our 3rd time, we're going to rejoice. Amen. And claim it as our own. Amen. That's how we're going to reenact this thing. Because we are operating with something, though unseen, there is nothing that can deny its operation when you accept it as such. So we did that. We walked around, and we gave them an offer. They accepted the offer. We then applied for our financing. We were approved. We closed escrow in 3 weeks. They were not even ready for that. In 3 weeks. How many escrows you know closed that quickly? Everyone was in total amazement. Well, how did that happen? So you got to realize what it is that you are using. And when you use it with the expectation that it is going to work, then it works. This is God in action. See, it does not work when we put the barriers up before it, when we put doubt before it, when we begin to doubt ourselves that it cannot work because we're not believing that it does. But when we operate from the place that it is working, then that's in fact exactly what it does. So we acquired the place. We put 50% of the money down on the building. That pretty much depleted our building fund. You know, they were asking a little over $600,000 for the property. We put a little over $300,000 down on the property. I think we had some $15,000 left into our account. And then we came in, it's like, okay, we're going to need another $75,000 to make this place habitable. So what did I do? After we had closed, I brought that same ministerial class in here.
Amen.
And we formed a prayer circle. And we did a treatment to just saturate this place with love. We left out of that circle. The next day, I received calls from the majority of all of my subcontractors volunteering their time to come into this place. The only thing we had to do is pay for materials.
That's right.
And then in some instances, we didn't have to do that because they donated it all.
Amen.
So we came in, and so I said to the church, I said, we're going to need to raise some money because we're going to have some expenditures, and we need about $75,000. Within a week, the church had raised close to $50,000. Within 1 week. And the church was composed primarily of folk that were retired. So, so I listen to people now when they talk about they're retired, they're on fixed incomes and all this other craziness. You got to get that fixed consciousness out of your mind. You got to see beyond the immediate. See, these are the things that you do when you're looking beyond the appearance. When you are accepting the reality of God being all that there is. And so we just continue to move forward and to move forward and to move forward. You know, we got in here, we fixed the place up. We started having our worship service. And then one day I walked into the building for service and I said to the congregation, I said, today I feel the spirit of the prophet Elijah when he said to the Israelites while they were in the desert, I smell rain. I said, now I smell a multitude of folk that are coming this way. I see it unfolding. Next thing you know, I met most of you. Church began to fill. Started having all these services. And then, 3 years later, I said to the board, let's pay the building off.
Amen.
And what did we do? We paid it off.
Amen.
That's how spirit works. This is God in action. This is what happens when you place no limits on spirit. This is when you absolutely believe what it is that you are talking about rather than just talking about something you don't believe. Therein lies the difference. When we begin to approach everything in our lives from that same perspective, it makes no difference what it is. That's why we began today with the concept that when you awakened this morning and you jumped out of bed, your expectation was that you were going to be able to do that. that there was going to be nothing that denied your ability to get out of bed and to stand on the floor and to move forward into the rest of your day. You had that as your expectation. When you have that same expectation for everything in your life, then it all works. Church, that is God in action. Peace and blessings to you this morning.